And what's up, motherfuckers?
What's up, bitches?
Yeah, you guys thought we were going to say, and we're back. You were wrong.
I was fully prepared for and we're back.
I know you were. I'm keeping you on your toes.
You really are. I'm snacking, guys.
You are the snack, guys.
Ooh, thank you.
My headphones seem low tonight.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's unmute Steve, too. Steve's in the house.
Hey.
All right. A little bit loud. A little loud. Okay.
All right.
Nope, it was me. I turned my headphones up a little bit too much.
Oh, gotcha.
So we have, my DoorDash is approaching. Excuse me.
Welcome tonight, guys. Hello. So while he's doing that, I'm going to talk about Hallow Scream. I had such a fun time last night. Me and the kid's stepmom went out and we hit Hallow Scream. We left at like 7:30, so we got there at like 9:30. And we did not walk through a single haunted house. The lines were an hour and a half to 2 hours long, and I was not willing to pay $150 for a fast pass. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Maybe next time. But we walked through the spook zones where they had actors walking around. Absolutely terrifying. Right off the bat, I screamed and ran. I was a little embarrassed, but she has now seen a new side of me. And I don't do well in horror situations. I'm not the one who's going to walk into a haunted house. I'm not going to, what was that noise? We need to go check it out. I'm skeeting, just gone.
Gonna skeet and go, huh? All right.
Yeah.
A lot happened. There were zombies. There was one guy who made like guttural pig noises. As we were walking past him, scared the shit out of me. I ran. There was, one girl who had like innards wrapped around her neck. She wasn't doing anything scary. She was just holding the innards, but she got really close to me.
You know that they can't touch you.
Right.
So what are you afraid of?
I didn't want to be touched by the innards.
Yeah, but they can't touch you.
That stilts dude grazed my arm.
Did he?
Yeah, he grazed it.
Oh, I'd have lost my shit.
Yeah. He hit me with like something like, "How are you doing tonight?" or something like that. But he was like, made it a point to be extra about it. And I was like, no, thank you. We did bumper carts, and the kid's mom drifted a bumper cart, and I shouted Tokyo Drift. That was fun.
Zach said, okay, listen, they weren't guttural pig noises. I was trying to breathe. It's human.
What else did we do? We went and saw the Cirque X Scream show. That was neat. There was a dude who took a bunch of dining room table chairs and stacked them. He had like 10 of them. He was standing on top of these chairs, balancing. I was panicking the whole time. That was neat. I heard women objectify other women. That was disgusting. What else was there? There was so much. I paid $10 for a soda. I was absolutely disgusted by that. They've gone cashless, which scared me. I was walking around with $200 and I couldn't use it. If they didn't take Apple Pay, I would have been screwed. There was a chick who glided. She had like the metal shin guards. Slid across the pavement. She was squatting down like an angry bulldog, just watching us walk by. The whole time I was like, don't breathe, don't make eye contact. And I was like, if we get lost in a sea of people, we're not going to be a target. But I'm easily scared. I'm a fucking target. They see me and they latch onto that shit. And I can't help it. It's fight or flight. And I have longer legs than I do bigger muscles, so I am better equipped to run. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, slid, yes. Made eye contact with her, and I was like, fuck, and I shouldn't have done that. And she was turning her body watching us as we were walking by. I looked at Jasmine. I was like, we're being watched. Like, she's going to get us. My situational awareness was at like 100 last night. I got to experience what it was like to be you. Like, threat from every single direction. Someone could have loudly stomped behind me last night, and I would have screamed and ran.
So I have a question from the chat.
Yeah.
Lost Times Schoolie said, will Peaches have her own podcast for the garden segment?
My own podcast? No.
Are you sure?
The garden's a segment.
Because this is the Peaches and Chris show, and if I have to vacate the premises, I will gladly do so and just be behind the screen.
I don't like that. I'm not willing to do this without you. Last night was fun. I bought a long sleeve hoodie for 50% off. So instead of it being like $40, I got it for $20, and that was neat. I'm not willing to spend $100 on
paper thin fabric.
Yeah, it was crazy to me how much the prices have gone up there. I remember going to Busch Gardens when I was younger and paying like $3 for a soda.
You need to explain the garden segment.
The garden segment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the garden segment is a women's segment only, where I can sit down and interview any woman who is willing to travel to Florida or already in Florida and willing to travel to where we are. I want to have you on the segment. I want to have a diverse, amalgamation's not the word, but I want to have diverse women on the podcast to talk about life experiences, and I want to have an age range from, you're going to have to be 18 to be on the show. So 18 to 80. I want to talk about life lessons. I want to talk about hardships, things that they've had to overcome, things that they've learned about into adulthood that they had to unlearn from their childhood. I want to do book breakdowns. I want to, once a month, I think I'm going to sit down and do a murder podcast or like a murder covering on it. Because there's that ongoing joke that women's downtime and decompression, they listen to murder podcasts. So I want it to be like a deadly women's moment once a month.
And how do people access that?
It is through our Patreon. So links are in the description. Bio.
To Patreon, it should be.
Patreon links are somewhere in the vicinity. I'm sure that one of the lovely wizards will be able to direct you. We will be posting short-length content of the garden to the YouTube channel. But for the full interviews, the full content, you will have to go to the Patreon.
All right. Sorry, I'm almost done. I have 3 left. And you're full screen just over there shoving peanuts in your face.
I'm having a good time right now.
Cool. Then you keep doing that so I can finish my dinner. It got here later than it should have.
Okay, so I wanted to touch on like the women objectifying women.
I
want
to touch on you. How about that? Wow, chicka, wow, wow.
Done.
I'll be back later.
You should, should tell people about your lovely note experience this morning after you talk about the women objectifying women.
Okay, so last night, like I said, we were at the Cirque X Scream show, and we were sitting there having a good time, looking at everything, and it was super dope. And as the show starts, like the lights are off and strobing red lights and the Halloween spooky music is going, a group of very intoxicated women came and sat behind us. And I am fully convinced that one of these women crop dusted us because it instantly smelled like someone shit themselves. And Jasmine looked at me and she was like, "Did you just fart?" And I was like, "No, I would tell you." Like, I'm not that person. But we were watching the show and the dancers came out and they did their thing. And then 2 aerialists came out and they were doing their thing in the air. And the whole time the women behind us were just sexually objectifying them, calling them scissor sisters and all of these kinds of things. And I was just absolutely disgusted. Like, you are perpetuating the problem that women have with being sexual objects by doing that. Yeah. I was absolutely infuriated. And if I was not worried about getting banned from Busch Gardens, I would have said something to them. I would have turned around and said something if I didn't have to be so close for them to hear me. Because Jasmine and I were like leaning into each other, be able to talk into each other's ears with how loud the music was. And if one of those women would have put their hands on me because I was so close to them, it would not have been a good moment. I was going to say something to them as we were leaving, but they jumped up and left to beat the crowd, and we are not quick. I turned around and they were already gone. I was like, well, there was that.
All right. So I'm going to address a couple things in the chat real quick, and then
Okay.
you can talk about your notes.
I'm going to grab that real quick.
There is not a men's segment. That out of full screen so it's not as obvious. We have a men's group and we have a women's group in Discord. The men's group itself, we have a public chat that people are able to get into if you're a man and you would like to have conversations with other men, you can. Then we have the paid men's group that is anywhere from 8 to 15 people on a regular basis that are aspiring business owners, husbands, fathers, and we are just there as a support group for each other on a small group basis.
Audio is muted.
Oh, no, it's not. My audio is not muted. Where did you see that at?
On the Just Chris cam.
Oh, well, good thing I'm not on that one.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how that's possible. Anyways, now that my train of thought is completely gone, I don't remember what I was talking about. But there's not a men's segment for the podcast.
That we have men and women's groups in the Discord.
Right. But there's not an individual segment for men. No. Somebody else also asked if I wanted to do a men's segment. I don't think I do. I don't know if I actually want to do that. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't. There are people that I would like to interview, and like if you didn't want to do it and I still wanted to interview them, we would do a standalone interview. But like, I'm not dedicating my time to more content. I just have too much going on. I don't have the time for it. So, and I'm going to real quick switch over to my camera to find out why I was muted. So 1 second, guys. There. Now I'm not muted on my camera. Boom. I somehow unticked my Rode mic. Thank you for calling that out, Zach. I appreciate it. All right. Want to talk about your notes?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Oop, wrong button. Wrong button. Oh, my God. I have to blow my nose.
So, if you guys follow the To Be Better podcast on TikTok, Chris made a video yesterday because he has been slowly finding notes that I've left for him throughout the house. And I do this thing where I give him reasons to why I love him. And he found one last night while I was at Hello Scream, and he made a TikTok about it. This morning, I woke up and I found a single pink sticky note randomly in the house. And I cried. I'm not going to lie. I cried. I saw that and I was like, it's super meaningful. People don't love people the same way that you love people, you know?
I wasn't here or there when you found those notes either.
No.
The first one, anyway.
Not the first one. I texted you. I sent a picture and I sent it to you. I was like, I'm having a really rough morning. So, like, thank you for this. It really made my day. And then he got home and he was like, super extra giddy and excited about life. And I was like, today, like, you're in a good mood. That's dope. And then he hits me with, there's more around the house. And I was like, no, there's not. And he was like, you've walked past 2 of them 6 times now. I can't believe how oblivious you are. And I was like, what do you mean? And I saw 2 of them. I saw one on my cookbook in the kitchen, and there was another one somewhere. And he was like, there's 3 more. There's 3 or 4 more around the house. And I was like, shut the fuck up. So like, I'm walking around the house looking for them, and it became like a fun little scavenger hunt for me. And there was one in my shoe. There was one in the fridge, which was a complete lucky guess on my end.
Yeah.
But it was super meaningful. Like, it's something I never expected from my husband because he's just not that person. So I got them all and I framed them, and they now sit on my desk at work.
So I now have a game that I can play with you.
Yeah.
If I ever get out of bed before you and I know I've got time, or you decide to, for whatever reason, go take a bath late at night,
Yeah.
I have an opportunity to run around and stick that shit all over the house. And because you're so oblivious, it could be days before you find it.
It really could be.
I actually did do a note for you at one
Yeah.
point, and it was like 4 days later. You're like, oh, you made a note. I was like, yeah, it's been sitting on the end table next to where you sit on the couch for like 4 days.
Yeah.
So
I also, it was really fun for me. I found one sitting next to the couch that I was just standing next to. Like I was moving, we upgraded our daughter's bedroom. So she's going from a small room to a larger room. And I was moving things throughout the house. And I was standing back from where I was just standing. And I saw a pink note and I fucking sprinted like
yeah,
loud
you
as
did.
shit, stomping. Got up there, picked it up, and I lost my mind. It was a lot of fun for me. It was neat. There was another point where I was just wandering around the house like I thought maybe one's in the laundry room. I'm in the laundry room a lot. And my nose was running. So I did my tissue walrus and I'm walking around. I was kind of a hot mess. I had on like this sheer thing that he likes looking at me in, and I had on the To Be Better blanket hoodie over that, my makeup bow in my hair, my glasses, like,
And house shoes.
and my house shoes. They look like penny loafers. And I'm wandering around the house looking for these things, and I'm coming out of the laundry room, tissue shoved up my face, and he was like, "What are you doing back here?" And we just make eye contact.
I scared the shit out of you.
You did. That is what happened. I was like, "Huh."
Yeah, it was funny.
It was good.
All right. Now that we've done some catching up and I've been able to eat and all of that fun stuff. I have some TikToks that I would like to respond to or react to or whatever. And then I have some articles that I want to get into as well. Do you have anything that you want to cover before we jump into this nonsense?
No.
All right. Let's see. Boom. All right. Tell me when to pause.
All right.
Happy wife, happy life? Well, kind of. But what if we have it just a little bit backwards? What if by keeping our husbands happy, we get it returned to us tenfold? Now, this is just a theory. I'm just some dumb internet idiot. But I'll tell you something. I'm a selfish person. It may not seem like it, but I spent a long time thinking of myself first. And not until recently did I realize it was just making me more miserable. My husband is honestly constantly trying to give me everything that I want and need, but I would still feel anxious and unsatisfied. And it recently dawned on me. Am I doing the same for him? And I had a meltdown because I realized no, I wasn't.
Pause.
I thought I
She sat down and recognized that she was not doing for her husband what she expected him to do for her and had a fucking meltdown over it. That realization that it takes two to tango, right?
Yep.
So at any point in a relationship, one of you can sit down and say, I'm not happy and I can tell you're not either and I want to change that.
Right.
So both parties are in the wrong when a relationship gets to that point.
Yep.
To take a step back and go, holy shit, this is because of me. I had one of my biggest meltdowns over that, like existential life crisis over the fact that I used to be a shitty human being.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with everything she said, though.
Yeah.
When you are happy, my life is so fucking easy.
Yeah. It's because I want to make you happy and I want to do for you.
Yeah.
This comes down to service over self, right? I could be selfish and just do all the things that I want to do. Or I can put you first and serve my wife and my household and my children the way that I'm supposed to, and everyone's life gets better because as I'm serving and I'm making you happy,
In turn, I serve you.
and I am happy. Like it is a perpetual engine. It's like have you seen the magnetic engines that just run on magnets?
Yes.
That's it. It passes your happiness, hits my happiness. My happiness passes it to your happiness, and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Yep. You want me to continue that one or no?
Yeah, why not?
Alrighty. Bloop.
thought I was, but it was just surface level stuff. And ever since then, I've been making a very conscious effort to put myself last. What does my husband need? How can I assist him? How can I make his life better? And I feel so much better. And he feels so much better. So we all feel
Hang on.
so
Oh,
much
pause.
better.
Okay.
Okay. So she said in putting herself last and thinking about her husband, her life has become so much better.
Yep.
Because in turn, your person will put themselves last and make you a priority.
Yep. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Right. Life is so much easier when you have a support system. And when that support system is in a cycle of they're my priority, you're my priority.
Yeah.
So I'm always fucking taken care of no matter what. And in not making myself a priority, it removes those emotions that can make things blurry or fuzzy. Judgment changes. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Dope.
All right. I have to remember two things. Let me go back to the screen. Steve, when we're done, we need to figure out a way to put the Stream Deck on your desk, and we need to have a monitor button that can turn the monitor on and off on OBS so that I don't have to look for the thing to click and then go click. I can just hit monitor, or you can. It'll pull up what's on my screen, and then I can focus on playing what needs to be played. So if I forget, please remind me.
Better. I even feel more connected to my child. I feel more like a family unit. Because yes, at the end of the day, the man holds us together, right? But the woman is behind that. The woman is the peacemaker. The woman holds the energy. And the man reciprocates, protects, and on and on. Again, I'm just some weird hippie on the internet. Don't listen to me. If this is only true for me, that's fine.
Y'all should listen to her.
I would like to point out that she was like, I'm just some weird internet hippie. Don't listen to me. Or weird hippie on the internet. If she really truly believed that and did not want you to listen to her video, she would not have made said video and stuck it on the internet for you to listen to. Just a thought. All right. Have to find the other links because AJ sent a bunch. All right. Hopefully this doesn't just start right away.
Oh my God. So I'm over here eating peanuts. I'm so sorry. And I'm chewing on the peanut and I'm sucking out the innards of the peanut, right? Am I a spider right now?
No.
Isn't that what spiders do? They suck out the innards after they liquefy it or something?
Yeah, but you don't have a venomous bite.
Right.
So.
But I'm doing the same process as a spider. I'm sucking the innards out of.
Well, you do the same thing when you drink soda with a straw. So.
No, it's different.
Okay, you spider bitch then. Spider.
You're so supportive. Thank you.
Living your spider dreams. All right.
Growing up, he's talking more, and he's a parrot. He just repeats everything that Ryder says.
It's just killing me.
So he calls Zach because Ryder calls Zach.
Right.
And she looked at me and she said, "Should I call Zach Dad so that Ace will call him Dad?" And I said, "No, like you can call Zach Dad
If she felt like she had
if you felt like you wanted to, but not because you felt like you had to do that."
All right. I don't care about any of this. I wish AJ wouldn't have sent this. This is like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
Can we not ever send people who talk slow? I'm good. There could have been really gold information there, but I can't deal with people who talk like they're stuck in slow motion. Mm-hmm. All right.
This is why your emotionally immature mom cannot respect your boundaries.
Oh.
If you don't know me, I'm
Okay, you let me know when you want me to pause, babe, because this is you.
Okay, let's go.
Well, not you, but it's your life.
Catherine, and I help women heal from their emotionally toxic and immature moms. She can't respect your boundaries because she feels like it's an affront on her. So when you say, "Mom, can you stop that? Mom, can we do this differently? No, Mom, I can't do it this day. Can we do this day instead?" To her, because she's so emotionally immature, it feels like a personal attack. And probably it feels that way to you too, because chances are if you grew up with an emotionally immature mom, then you are incredibly emotionally enmeshed with her.
Pause.
Now this is
So I agree with everything she just said. There is very much a taking it personal, not understanding that your adult child has a life now. I think along with that emotional maturity comes with the person devoted themselves as a parent, and that's all they are in life now. Like, they're not Sally, their mom. Like, Sally is a whole human being with complex thoughts and emotions and wants and needs, and they're able to communicate that, and they have hobbies and things that make them happy and coping mechanisms. Is this making sense?
I mean, are you going to continue your thought process?
I mean, is what I'm saying so far making
So
sense?
far, I'm invested.
Okay. So Sally is a whole human being. If someone just views themselves as a mother and they don't have the self-care, the hobbies, the things that make them a whole human being, they cling on to the things that validate that for them.
So are you saying that people should not make a label their identity?
Right.
Do I need to say that again? Do not make a label your identity. I don't care what that label is. You are much more than a label. Okay.
Okay.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Want me to continue?
Yeah, did all that make sense?
Yeah, it did.
All right.
Before I do this, somebody in the chat named Black Harvest said this works when both are willing to do this because unfortunately it usually ends up one-sided. Learn to recognize what situation you are in and don't put yourself last for the wrong person. This is that keeping score. I'm only going to match the energy mindset, and you will never level or grow if that's how you live your life. Because I don't give a fuck what other people are doing. I'm going to be the best version of me, and if that means I have to serve someone who is ungrateful for a little while, so be it. Because I'm going to learn those lessons. And when I realize that this person is not worth my servitude, I will remove them from my life and I will continue on, because my peace and my willingness to do for others is more important to me than what people are willing to do for me. And when you live your life like that, you are going to have a much greater outcome. I agree with pay attention to the people that you have in your circle and like weed those motherfuckers out, but do not live your life based off of the intent of other people. There's a difference between like being in service of and living in servitude to others' whims. I serve because I want to. I'm not living in servitude because I have to. Yeah? All right. I think the next shirt is going to be service over self. And it's just going to say service with a line and the word self underneath of it.
Yeah.
This isn't your fault. This is literally how she raised you. She raised you to be hyper aware and in tune with how she's feeling and what's going on in her world. So when you start setting boundaries with your mom, it might feel like you're chopping off your own arm because you can feel the pain that she feels. You know how much it's hurting her because you're so in tune with how she feels. Here's the thing.
Pause.
You're not doing anything wrong. Your mom had her.
Yes.
So I agree with everything she just said with the enmeshment too. For a very long time in my teenage years, I was my mom's therapist. I knew everything about her fucking life. And it isolated me a lot. Because now not only am I dealing with my own bullshit, I have to worry about my mom's love life. Or I'm worrying about all of the shitty people at work. Like those kinds of things, you know? And it was very much if she was having a bad day, everyone's having a bad day. I have cut off contact with my mom, and that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. It is still one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. There is a lot of guilt. There is a lot of I would just say guilt. There is a lot of guilt. It does feel like I have cut off one of my limbs. And there is that worry there. There is that love still there. I'm praying for my mom daily. I don't hate her.
Right.
I miss her. Yeah, it's rough.
Would you like me to add this chick to my list of people to try to reach out to for the garden?
That'd be dope.
All right. I'm going to give her a follow now then, and then I will try to follow up later. I need a notepad. I don't know where my notepad. Oh, I do know where my notepad is. Hang on.
I'm glad you remembered. Yeah. He's walking away, everybody. Fuck me. That's the second time I've knocked over my peanuts. All right, everybody, take a hit.
Well, I found my notepad, but I have no idea where my pen is.
I have a pen on my desk.
Okay.
It's a blue crystal one.
Whatever. It'll work. It will work for right now. Oh, it's the one that was sent to you.
It writes very nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach out to her for another one.
With the way that I lose ink pens, it's a good thing that I don't have a Mont Blanc like I want. Because if I lost one of those, I would be super upset. All right, I'm going to continue playing this.
Okay.
Boop. Boop. Boop.
Her whole life, to live her life, to make her decisions, to do her things. And now, if you're an adult, it is your right to pursue the life that you want. And it's okay for you to set limits, to make space for your mom to come into your life rather than your whole life being focused on her. There has to be a shift. There has to be a change. So if you've been struggling to set boundaries with your mom, if you feel guilty or you're not sure where to start, get my Toxic Mom Recovery Guide to start healing those mother wounds. And
All right, she's plugging now. Anything else you want to add to that before we move to the next one?
If you have a mom in your life who is overbearing and emotionally manipulative and very just emotionally immature, know that in cutting off that relationship, there is going to be a guilt there. There is going to be that questioning of, am I a piece of shit daughter for this? Nobody heals in the environment that they got sick in. And while you're on the receiving end of toxic things, the mom is also going through a lot of shit. And sometimes it really takes hitting rock bottom for people to recognize that what they're doing is not working in their life anymore.
Yeah. I actually get that. But see, you and I are different in that I can cut people out of my life like I'm a butcher. And I don't think twice about it. Like once that that piece has been disrupted, you'll get a single warning. Like, what you just did is unacceptable, and it crosses every boundary that I've set for my life, and you are bringing discord into my life or discourse. And if you are going to continue that behavior, I can't have you in my circle. You've got to go. And I will, we'll be cordial. I'll say hello to you in public, but I'm not talking to you on the phone. If you call me for anything,
There's no relationship.
There's nothing, because my peace matters more to me than other people's fucking wants. And you can call that selfish if you want to, but I'm happy in life, and I'm not going to have that disrupted by miserable fucking people.
I agree.
All right, last one of these. And I have some that I downloaded. These are from AJ.
You have a total of 19 years with your kid.
Nah, I got Gen Z kids. They're not going anywhere for a while. They know that college is mostly a scam. They can never afford to buy a home. They acknowledge mental illness. They care more about their personal happiness than
Bro, you want to talk about setting your kids up for failure? Hold on.
some meaningless.
Hold on. Hold the fuck on. When you name something, you give dominion. You have dominion over that, right? You have a power over that when you name something.
Right.
And when you start saying shit like this, you are giving that to your children.
Total of 19 years with your kid.
Nah, I got Gen Z kids. They're not going anywhere for a while.
Okay, so you got kids who have no motivation, who aren't moving out of the house, right? You're just acknowledging that publicly.
They know that college is mostly a scam.
College is mostly a scam. It's indoctrination from, the government getting involved in that. It's all bullshit.
And they can never afford to buy a home.
Congratulations, kids. You will never have anything in life. You'll never be able to afford to buy a home because you're not willing to do shit in life. That's what I hear when I hear those messages.
Renting's better anyway, to be honest.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get off this monitor screen. Let me tell you something. Our kids say, I want to be an astronaut. You're going to be a fucking astronaut when you grow up. There's not going to be, that's a whole lot of college or that's really hard. I'm going to promote as much learning and self-confidence in those kids as I can. But I'm not going to ever tell the kids that it's too hard. You can't do that. The housing market sucks, son. Don't ever buy a house. Fuck that. Start saving. I'm in the process of setting up Roth IRAs for our kids. I've talked to Justin about it. There's paperwork that has to go through because it's not like I can't be the one to do that, and I'm waiting on him to send me everything that I need so that I don't have to go down there.
Right.
But at 4 and 5 years old, these kids are getting set up. If you believe that your kids are going to be workless, not worthless, workless, and that they're not going to want to get a job, and that college is the only way that they're going to make money, but it's a scam, and they're never going to own anything, you are setting your kids up to work for a socialist regime.
Yeah.
Is that really what you want? How about teach your kids fucking economic freedom and the effect of working hard and what it looks like to actually aspire to have shit? I don't want our kids to think that it's impossible. I don't care how fucking hard it is. If you want something, get it.
Right. For him to say that they will never buy a house because of whatever it is, my answer to that is, I guess you'll never be able to do it. You're going to own your own fucking business. You're going to manage your own shit, and you're going to get to where you want in life because of how hard things are.
You can do this. I understand the housing market sucks. I'm not denying that.
Right.
The government taking us off the gold standard and the threat of us losing the petrodollar. We are in a real serious issue with the American dollar. I'm not delirious about that, but I'm not going to allow my kids to believe that they have no hope. You are doing a huge disservice to your children if that's your thought process behind things. And I know that there are people in life who have trade jobs who do very fucking well for themselves, that own land and have houses, and they're welders or they're tattoo artists or they're plumbers. They are people who have learned a trade and are necessary in life. If your kids are going to college to get a liberal arts degree, of course they're not going to be able to fucking do anything because their degree is a piece of toilet paper that has some print on it. Like, oh man, this fucking just triggered me hard. I think that as a father, your fucking duty is to make sure that your kids are in a position to
They're
thrive.
set up for success.
Right. And if you can't do that because of whatever your fucking excuses are, you are failing as a man. You are failing as a father. And if you're married, you're failing as a husband. Because you are supposed to lead your house. And if you are not leading your house by example, you're a boss. Tell me how that leadership looks.
They acknowledge mental illness.
Sorry, that shit just pissed me the fuck off.
I've quit because of bad bosses.
Woosah.
You want me to come touch your face?
I want you to rub my second head.
Care more about their personal happiness than some meaningless trope of what it means to be successful, and
back up.
They have parents that value a relationship with about their personal happiness than some meaningless trope of what it means to be successful, and
hang on. Sorry, guys. They acknowledge mental illness. Cool.
Acknowledge mental illness. They care more about their personal happiness than some meaningless trope of what it means to be successful.
A meaningless trope of what it means to be successful. Okay, so let's be real. Everyone recognizes success as different things.
Right.
Right? I have financial success. That's super dope. I have a successful marriage. I am doing the dad thing, right?
Yeah.
I have things in my life that are far more important to me than money that I am thriving in. I am a good friend. I have people that are family to me that like I will fucking go to war with. That level of success means much more to me than the financial aspect of things. But when so first of all, I'll be perfectly honest. There is a freedom that comes to not having anything. Homeless people experience a freedom that most people will never understand, and I've lived that life, so I get it. But there's a freedom that comes from having financial safety to be able to do whatever you want. Like, if we want to go buy motorcycles, we can do that. If we want to go to Iceland, we can do that. We can do the things that we want to do because we have the financial success, but that doesn't make you successful.
No.
Having internet fame doesn't make you successful. The things that matter to you in your life, accomplishing those goals is what makes you successful. So with his some meaningless trope of what it means to be successful means that you are putting your definition of success or other people's definition of success on your kids. So why don't you teach them integrity and teach them how to live with proper morals and guidance, and then instill in them a work ethic so that they can make the decision of what's going to be successful in their eyes? Because if you do your job as a father, the things that make a man a good man is what's going to determine his success. The money's a fucking byproduct. You can always make more money if you have the work ethic and you're willing to do what it takes to do it, versus just going, well, it's too hard. Dad said I'll never be able to buy a house and I'm just going to live with him forever. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get drunk. I'll probably become an alcoholic in my mid 20s. If I don't before I'm 20, I'm going to get a video game addiction. I'm probably going to be overweight. I'm not going to have good hygiene, and I'm just going to
food addiction.
I'm just going to go ahead and do what I want to do because Dad's got me. How is that setting your kids up for anything in life other than being a dependent?
Get them.
I got to be honest. I know that there's people, and they're probably in the chat right now, that don't agree with me, and I don't care. This is one of those things that I believe what I believe, and no one's going to change my mind on this because I've lived on both sides of the equation. I've been homeless, I've been incarcerated, and I am in a point where I have financial success. I've had a failed marriage. I've got a dope fucking marriage now, and it all comes down to decisions. It comes down to having a fucking team around you and believing in yourself. And when you tell your kids, what are you, stupid? They hear that enough, they're going to believe they're stupid. Oh, you don't have to worry about moving out. You're going to be here until you're in your 40s. Yep, that's exactly what the fuck's going to happen. Don't worry about going to college. There's no reason for that. Well, really, what about trade school, Dad? Yeah, you don't need to do that either. Don't worry. There'll be there'll be a what is the fucking currency that the government's trying to give everybody? The basic income or whatever government.
Oh, yeah, it was.
It's right there.
I had it.
Yeah. But it's one of those things that if I don't want to be dependent on anybody, I want my freedom. I want to be able to enjoy my life. If you're like, I want something, I don't want to look at you and be like, I'm sorry, you can't have that.
It's called universal basic income.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that. I don't want to have my allowance from the government. That whole thing bothers me. Real shit. If you were to be like, babe, I want this, and I was unable to provide that to you within like 60 days, I would feel like an epic fucking failure, because it's not like you ask for a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like the most expensive shit you've ever asked for is like cars or, random Louis bags and shit. But I have gotten you everything that you have ever asked for, and I've done it in a very timely fashion, except for the lavender plant.
Except for the lavender plant, yeah.
Yeah, she wanted a lavender plant. She asked for it while we were at Hobby Lobby one day.
It was a fake one.
And I was like, we're going to put that. And she's like, on the counter in the kitchen. I'm like, no, because there's no space in our kitchens for anything like that. And so it was more of it's not that you can't have it. You just can't have it in the kitchen. She's like, well, then I don't want it. So to be clear, she could have had the shit, just not in the kitchen. And that's a me problem, right? I feel like a failure if I'm not able to provide my wife, because I believe that's part of my duty as your husband is to provide the things that you want. And I'm not Brad Lee. I'm not the guy that's got billions of fucking dollars who'd be like, if she can outspend me, I'm not doing the right thing. We live within reason.
Right.
But I want to be able to give you everything that you want. And that's a mindset that I've had to establish in myself. And if I really thought that you were like, babe, I want a barn dominium in the next 2 years, I'm going to work overtime. I'm going to do everything that I can to make that happen in the next 2 years. And it could create a whole lot of other problems in our life, but I'm going to give you that. That's the way that it's supposed to be, because if I was like, babe, I want this, and it's on you to make it happen, I fully believe with every fiber of my being that you would kill yourself trying to make that happen, because you knew that it's something that would satisfy something in me.
Yeah.
That's the point of being a teammate. That's
Yeah.
the effort. That's the entrepreneurship that we have. There is we are each other's main goal in life. I'm ranting. I'm aggravated. This video pissed me the fuck off.
Do you want crumble cookie?
Yes.
And they have parents that value a relationship with them. So
you think that because you put a stress on financial success, or what it means to be a trope of what it means to be successful. So maybe that's me equating that to finances, that you can't have a personal relationship with your kids. Because I can take my kids on vacation for 6 months right fucking now, and there's nothing stopping me from doing it.
Right.
So how would that affect my relationship? Because I guarantee that 6 months where dad's not working, mom's not working, and we're able to do shit. I could take. Sorry, I'm on the wrong screen. We could reach out to the other co-parents, the other side of the equation, and the four of us could go for 3 months instead of the two of us going for 6. And we could have a 3-month vacation somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and could truly bond with our children in a way that most parents never will, because we are living off the land, or we are in a cabin in Georgia, or wherever the case may be, because I have financial freedom to do that.
Right.
Tell me that you can't have a relationship with your kids just because you have a successful life. It doesn't work that way. You can't dedicate your time to both. You have to pick.
Right.
You can't be 100% job or 100% kids, because it doesn't work that way. But you can grind while your kids are like being had, and like you can make that situation work so that you have the financial freedom to do these things. But, people pick their career and send their kids to fucking boarding school and then don't raise their children. That's a very different scenario than what we've got going. I'm done with this video because it's just making me angry.
Crumble cookies closed.
Oh, that makes me angrier.
We could do the caramel cookie thing from Chili's.
No, it's crumble cookie or bust.
Not for me.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that if you want to. I'm going to forgo Chili's cookies. All right, let's see what we have in the Sunday's clips, because these I think are going to be better. Oh, all right, we have a Pearly Things. I don't even know what all I have. I saved. Oh, let's start with this one. This one's fucking dope.
I'm getting a lot of people asking me about Pearly Things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you like right now?
Yeah. No, not right now, but like at least once or twice alive, people want to talk to me in depth about how I feel about pearly things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are well, anyways. All right, let's get to this. You're going to love this. This is feel good shit right here.
Number one, we don't report to man. We report above. Rule number two, protect mommy and sissy. Rule number three, be a savage.
That got me.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's how you instill that savage servant into a child. And like as that kid starts to grow up and is having a hard time doing things, that father is going to be emotionally controlled enough to have conversations that's going to elevate that kid to a level that most people will never understand. I fucking love seeing shit like that. When I see that, especially with little kids who are having meltdowns and the dad is just having a conversation, I'm like, bro, you are breaking trauma and generational trauma. Like you are fucking doing the thing that most men wish they could, but don't have the emotional maturity to have that conversation. Right. I fucking love that video. I played that shit like 15 times this morning before I downloaded it. All right, this next video is from Graybeard Actual. This is somebody that I've been trying to get to come on the podcast, and he agreed to it, but he's probably going to have to do a Zoom thing. This dude called me out on the word vulnerable and pulled out a dictionary and a thesaurus and like made a stitch to my video and kind of schooled me. And like I had to then do some research because I was misusing that term because of the way society misuses that fucking term. And after schooled, I followed him and reached out to him and he followed me back. We've had some conversations. So
what a mature thing to do.
What?
Just all of that.
I need you to elaborate.
There are people out there be like, fuck you for correcting me. Like, you don't know the context. You took that with grace, and I'm proud of you for that.
Well, I mean, he watched the video. It was the 300 video that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And like how I was like, you should be 100% vulnerable with your woman. He was like, vulnerable is a weakness. And he read the definition. And we are being programmed to be vulnerable by definition. And like, we assume we know the context of the word and the meaning behind it, but this is no different than grind. When you stay on your grind, like you are grinding yourself down. The definition of grind is not hustle. It's not a good thing. So when he called me on it, it schooled me. And like, I need that. I want to be called out. I don't want to be an idiot. You know what I mean? Like I want to improve. My growth is exponential. It's going to be dependent on the work that I'm willing to put in. And I appreciate you telling me that I took that with grace. I don't, you're right. I could have gotten mad about it.
Right.
I just don't see a reason to do that. All right. Damn, somebody said, show her the video. Hold the fuck on. I'm working on it. All right. Show her the video of him calling me vulnerable. And there's no, I mean, she can look that up if she wants to, but.
All women have different rules for different men, depending on the woman's perception of that man's mate value. Higher mate value, she'll make exceptions for him. Jason Momoa wants to take her out on a Wednesday night. It's his only free night. Normally, she has a rigid rule of not dating, entertaining, socializing on weeknights. She gets up early. But for Jason, she'll break that rule. She'll make an exception. You see, when people start talking about women breaking rules or making rules for men, it's always boiled down to whether or not she's going to have sex with this guy or that guy, which is often the case. That version, however, applies much more to promiscuous women, and prudent men with options don't date promiscuous women, but it's still a helpful concept to understand under normal dating conditions.
All right, so let's pause. Do you want to talk about any of that, or you want me to just keep going?
All of that's accurate as a woman.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. We can discuss this afterwards then.
Okay.
It's a new relationship. Maybe you're planning the second or third date. Be flexible. Don't be a jerk. If she can't make it a Wednesday or Thursday night, okay. But if she shows a pattern of never making an exception, you're always going to adhere to her schedule, regardless of what your schedule is, she's not that interested. And of course, a lot of other popular topics that come up in my comment section. You're a month or two in and she won't show you on social media. It's some rule that she has. She says she won't show you to her outer circle till 3 months or 6 months or whatever. She's been burned before. Doesn't want to look silly. But that one ex-boyfriend that you know about, she's talked about how excited she was for him. She was showing him on Facebook almost immediately. Do you know enough about her past that she did make exceptions for that one guy, but she's not going to make them for you? You're not her first choice. There have been men in her life that she made plenty of exceptions just to be around them.
All right. So this conversation is something that we've, You and I have had quite a bit, right? And we've had it because we have other people in our lives who are the opposite of that. It's normally women who are like, he won't post me to social media.
Yeah.
And like we have a lot of people who are like, you know, if he really wanted me, wouldn't he pursue me and wouldn't he want to do these things? I've never had a conversation with a man who has been in that position ever. And I don't know if that's because I surround myself with men who have self-esteem, but I don't know men who are willing to chase and chase and chase like that. I do know that women like to play hard to get, but I know that there are a lot of men who don't have time for that. And a man who has an understanding of his value and what his time means to him is not playing that fucking game. So I don't hang around with low quality men. So in that scenario, is that a normal thing? Like, because I've never experienced, I've never heard a man say the shit that he said in that video. It's always been from women who have sent us emails or have had conversations on like the whatever podcast that have made those arguments.
I do. Yes, it is a thing. And it's more prevalent for men who don't have self-esteem.
Okay.
Who, oh, she's showing interest in me. I need to pursue that because what if no one else comes along? There are men who go years without having a woman show interest in them. So as we've said before, when someone's starved of something, they fucking chomp at the bits when there's an option.
Yeah.
And like the guy in the TikTok said, women who are more promiscuous are the ones who do that. Who, well, I'm not going to show you on my Facebook, that kind of thing.
Okay, I'm gonna hit you with a hypothetical.
Okay.
So in a scenario where you have that, a woman who is putting the guy being off, shown off for 2 or 3 months, she's not really going on the dates unless it's something that she wants to. Maybe she's changing the date night where he's like, let's go to Outback. And she's like, no, I want the really expensive Sam Seltzers or whatever the steakhouse is in your area that's expensive. And in order for him to be able to actually get her to go on the date, he has to agree to take her to the place that she wants to go to. That's probably out of his budget, but has to make it work somehow in order to try to somehow win this woman over, woo her over or whatever. How likely do you think it is that men who don't normally get the attention are being taken advantage of by women who realize that they are soft men and that they can manipulate these men to get the thing that they want, and then once they have it, they become disposable and they get rid of them?
How often do I think that's happening?
Yes. Because as a man, I can tell you a lot.
I think every man who is feeling that way about themselves, it happens to them almost every time they date somebody.
Yeah. See, now that's the difference in what I've seen from that video versus the scenario that I've laid out, because I've never heard a man complaining that the woman's not showing him off on social media ever. But I have heard men say that like every time I create a date night, she wants to go somewhere else and she's never happy with where I'm taking her. And like we've been seeing each other for 4 months and I just want to go hang out at a park or go to a beach or a coffee shop. And every time we go out, she wants to go to a club or somewhere really high end. And the dates aren't going anywhere. They're not talking other than when the date nights are happening. She gives him enough attention to keep him hanging on, but not enough to like really commit to what's happening.
Right.
I don't know. That was a lot. That video was a lot for me to take in. And like, as I paused in the beginning of that, I was waiting on you to rebuke some of it. And you're like, nah, that's it. I'm like, damn.
Why would I rebuke it?
I don't know. Because my cognitive bias expects you to do so. I don't know. I know that you're not that kind of woman.
No.
But hearing those kind of things being said, I think I just expected that to be, wait a minute, we don't do that kind of thing.
We do that, yeah.
Yeah. Wild.
There is 100% there were exceptions when you and I were recording that I would never award to another man.
Like what?
Coming over after I went to work. That was a big one for me because I worked late.
Yeah.
So you coming over and leaving 11:30 midnight, knowing I have to turn around and wake up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Something I never really did, but for you, knowing how busy you were and are, it's 100% worth it for me.
So you're saying that if I wasn't that man to you and you seen the worth that I had, you wouldn't have tolerated that. So if you were seeing somebody else, there would have had to been a criteria there for you to make those exceptions.
Right. It would have been strictly like, these are my days off. If you can't make my days off work, then we can have a friendship. I'm not going to try to pursue anything.
That's wild. It gives me a lot to think about. I have like 3 or 4 more videos. I'm going to do one more. This is actually a Pearly Things video. I just kind of want to see what happens and then we'll run it.
Okay.
Oh wait, somebody asked me to replay that last video. Are you good with that? You want me to replay that, woman?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All women.
Hang on. Sorry, guys. I got to turn the volume down just a little bit because it's a little bit loud in my headphones. This dude is smart as shit. Like I actually respect the fuck out of this dude's opinions, but
All women have different rules for different men, depending on the woman's perception of that man's mate value. Higher mate.
okay, I got to pause. Can you explain how that works?
What?
All right, I'm gonna start it over.
What? No.
I'm just gonna
Mate
start it over.
value?
Yeah, just
Well, I heard it.
okay. Well, I already rewound it, so I have to play it again.
All women have different rules for different men, depending on the woman's perception of that man's mate value.
Okay, so mate value.
Yes.
What is that? What is that to you?
Mate value to me is.
Is it sexual or is
No.
it okay? See, because when I hear mate, I'm thinking smashing, right? Like we're
Right.
mate.
Well, there are certain species that mate for life, right? Penguins, geese, whatever. I think women are more inclined to have a mate for life versus men in today's dating society. So, as a woman,
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you.
okay,
Then why are divorce rates so fucking high and women initiating 70 to 80% of divorces?
probably because of trauma and damage and hurt, and they're jumping into whatever first relationship they feel that they can cling on to because it's filling voids within them, and then they, once the marriage is ongoing, they recognize that it's not what they want, and they just jumped into a relationship.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. You're on the mate thing.
What was I saying?
You were saying that you think that some women are willing to mate for life, for they're more willing to mate for life than a man is.
So, if my prospects are a gentleman who is working 2 jobs, one at McDonald's and he's a mechanic for the other one, right? And he doesn't go out much, a very homely person, doesn't go clubbing, doesn't enjoy drinking, would rather do like dinners at home versus going out to eat, a very recluse kind of guy, right?
Right.
Has higher value to me versus a man who has one job where he is mid-income, but he's known for sleeping around.
Define mid-income. 6 figures or less? What is mid-income to you?
Well, in today's economy, it's crazy to think that my perspective went from like 40 to 60,000 to 80 to 100,000.
Okay. Well, that's your perception of reality because we know what 100,000 really does now compared to what it did 10 years ago. So I actually think that's fair, but that speaks on the devaluation of the dollar. That's not even remotely relevant. I just needed to know what
he has a
mid-level
decent paying job.
Okay.
Decent paying. He's financially comfortable.
Okay.
Is able to provide more material items, whatever I want, as long as there's a head up for things. But he's known for sleeping around, and that is part of his characteristic when people talk about him.
Now, would you I know that you're not, so I can't word it that way, but I'm going to because it's the conversation we're having. Are you, or were you ever one of those women who believed that you could find the guy that had the all of the money and the sleeping around aspect and try to tame the man? Because we get a lot of emails from women who knew what the motherfuckers were doing before they committed to them.
Right.
And committed thinking that he would change because they're in love. Was that ever a thing for you?
Yeah. Yeah, there were 2 relationships that I had that I knew damn well what they were doing beforehand. I've seen them do it to other women. Oh, not me. Big fucking clown face.
All right, I'm going to start this back from the beginning and just let it play all the way through because this is, I'm going to side rail hard. I have so many things that I want to say and I don't want to take a bunch of time with this. So, all All right, sorry guys, gonna run this shit through one more time and then we're gonna get on to the next thing.
All women have different rules for different men, depending on the woman's perception of that man's mate value. Higher mate value, she'll make exceptions for him. Jason Momoa wants to take her out on a Wednesday night. It's his only free night. Normally she has a rigid rule of not dating, entertaining, socializing on weeknights. She gets up early. But for Jason, she'll break that rule. She'll make an exception. You see, when people start talking about women breaking rules or making rules for men, it's always boiled down to whether or not she's going to have sex with this guy or that guy, which is often the case. That version, however, applies much more to promiscuous women, and prudent men with options don't date promiscuous women, but it's still a helpful concept to understand under normal dating conditions. It's a new relationship. Maybe you're planning the second or third date. Be flexible. Don't be a jerk. If she can't make it a Wednesday or Thursday night, okay. But if she shows a pattern of never making an exception, you're always going to adhere to her schedule, regardless of what your schedule is, she's not that interested. And of course, a lot of other popular topics that come up in my comment section. You're a month or two in and she won't show you on social media. It's some rule that she has. She says she won't show you to her outer circle till 3 months or 6 months or whatever. She's been burned before. Doesn't want to look silly. But that one ex-boyfriend that you know about, she's talked about how excited she was for him. She was showing him on Facebook almost immediately. Do you know enough about her past that she did make exceptions for that one guy, but she's not going to make them for you? You're not her first choice. There have been men in her life that she made plenty of exceptions just to be around them.
All right. Okay, so before we get into that, I want to have another conversation because Jenna said, all right, there we go. Sorry. Steve, can you talk so I can make sure you're not muted? Yep, okay, you were muted. All right. Did you give me that stat?
Absolutely. So, according to the Institute for Family Studies, men are more likely than women to cheat. 20% of men versus 13% of women.
Okay. So that's the stat that Jenna J. Ardito put into the chat, which she then writes, which may explain why more women are initiating divorce. I don't believe that to be accurate.
Repeat that.
That 20% of men are more likely to cheat than women by 20% versus 13% on a study that was done.
Okay, why?
Because it is so much fucking harder for a man to land a woman than a woman to land a man. We have to jump through fucking hoops and prove our value for you guys to lay down with us, where you can go, hey, want to go and fuck? And a man's going to be like, yep. So you guys have that control, right? We don't get to do that. A man can go to the bar every single night and not pick a woman up regardless of how hard he tries. A woman can go to the bar and if she really wanted to, can leave with a man every single fucking night of the week. Men on dating apps get far less matches than women do. That's also proven. So I don't believe that those stats are accurate. I just don't. Because in the event that women want to do foul shit, they can. I do believe, however, that men are a whole lot more likely to get caught than women are, because men are fucking simple creatures. And women have this whole fucking girl code where they will actually sleep with somebody's married husband and then go tell on him. So
that's fucked up.
Right, but it happens. It happens all the fucking time. There are groups on Facebook. I'm going to sleep with your husband. Like, it's a thing. So I just don't believe those stats. They could be absolutely right, and I could be fucking totally talking out of pocket right now, but like I don't believe those stats are accurate. I just don't.
I'm stuck on the whole women supporting women.
Well, hey, she told you, sister, like, at least you know he was doing it. When in reality,
How foul.
We know, like, there's videos on TikTok and on YouTube where women were like, I know you cheated. She said you did it. And the girl was like, he actually didn't. I just knew that you weren't with him because you were paying somebody to go fuck him.
Yeah.
Like,
I know I would treat him better.
Right. Fucking people, man.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this pearly thing or no?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think?
Is there a high-value woman?
Do high-value women exist? If so,
okay.
who are they?
Just tell me to pause whenever you want me to, babe.
Okay.
Well, so this is an interesting question. I pondered about this a little bit too, because there's a lot of people that will ask, like, oh, high-value men. So that's the other side of it is, does a high-value man exist, right? People are like, what's a high-value man? Well, that's an easy question to answer. It's just a high-value man. First of all, who measures value? Like, we have to have an objective standard. We can't be delusional and be like, everybody likes different things. Well, if this girl's into this kink, then she's a high-value woman. It's like, is she high-value because you're into crapping in her mouth and she takes it, that makes her high value. That's absolutely crazy. A kink doesn't make a person high value. It makes them a sexual object. I can buy a sexual object, and if
All I can think of is, you poop mouth.
if I can buy it, it's not going to be a lot of value in the marketplace because there's a lot of dudes that can buy it. So who determines value? That's an interesting question. And the answer is it's the market that determines the value. And like for people who don't know what that means, it's like, buy my house for $1 billion. It's like, but this house sucks. Yeah, but I determine my own value. It's $1 billion. How many people buy that house? 0 people. Who determines the value of a house? The market. What does that mean? It's the willing number of buyers that are going to pay the maximum price, and the highest bidder usually wins. So the value has to be determined by the highest bidder. That's how things work in life, right? So a high value woman would be a woman that is sought after by the highest bidder, the highest bidding man. Now, this is a really interesting question because this is I actually had a really interesting discussion with a friend of mine about this. Like, what does it mean to bid on a woman? See, this is where women get confused, right? Because women are like, oh, a lot of guys want to sleep with me and they DM me, so I'm a high value woman. But that's a misnomer in the value marketplace, and there's a really easy answer for that, right? Like, here's a question for you guys: how many people in the world today can go pay cash and buy a Ferrari? Is that a lot or a little?
A little.
It's a little. How many people can save up for a little bit and rent a Ferrari for their wedding or their graduation?
A lot.
Quite a lot of people, right? So women are like, oh, these dudes are hitting me, I'm high value. It's like, no, you're a rental car.
Damn.
You know, a lot of guys can save up and rent a nice car for a day. You're not high value. So a high value cannot be a rental car. A high value has to be an owner car. So a high value woman, by the definition of the market, is just what is the highest status or the highest value or most desired, because that's how men's values marketed, you know, what is the highest value man that is willing to give you what?
A ring.
A ring, there it is.
Yeah.
It's the highest value man that's willing to give you a ring. So if you can get dudes that want to hump you, but they don't want to give you a ring, you're not high value. And that's the answer. Do high value women exist? Yes, because I'm married for 10 years with 4 kids. And I know a lot of other dudes that are doing pretty darn well that are married to these women.
All right. We don't need to hear the rest of it. You got anything you want to throw down on that? Any opinions or thoughts?
Fucking called them enterprise. Like, he said that, and I was like, oh. That was a really, really good way to put all of that.
Yeah. So I saved this video because I wanted to be able to ask you, in the terms of the whole rental car versus the actual thing, and being able to describe value the way that he described value. When women are in their early 20s to late 20s and they're doing what women are currently doing, and they are acting as rental cars, I have taken really high-end, expensive rental cars and beat the brakes off of them. I've driven them through the desert. I've driven them through fucking mountains, scratched the shit out of them, taken fucking, $100,000 cars off-road. I've done a lot of stupid shit in rental cars because it's a rental car. There's no respect for said rental car. So when it's put into that type of perspective, do you think that people are going to be able to equate that to self-respect?
Equate what?
I probably worded that wrong because in my head I have got this great tirade that I want to get into, but I don't want to like push the thoughts. I want to hear your opinion, so I don't want to.
Are you saying that using his scenario, that a low quality man presenting as a high value man could land the expensive rental car?
Right.
And just absolutely fuck it up and damage it and returning be like,
right.
Good luck, guys. I do think that can happen. It does happen. That was his analogy, was just that. It's an analogy.
Yeah.
You don't take it as factual. You don't take it as, of course, you trust your intuition. You vet people.
You should be vetting people. That's
the
the
word?
courting phase and
Yeah.
then the dating phase.
Right. So, of course, rental cars are walk in, I need a car. Here's what we got. Thanks, I'll be back. Your dating, your courting is going to be what the rest of your life looks like.
Right.
So, I think a low intellectual person could be offended by that.
I don't care.
Okay.
I liked the way that he laid all of that out. It was well thought, I think, and I enjoyed it, which is why I saved the video. But the idea of a man holding a value over a woman's, like, what she brings to the table and not just sex, because that's what all of the stupid interviews are.
Right.
Well, like the whatever podcast and all the gotcha shit. Like I can't stand those podcasts. They don't bring anything of real value, even pearly things.
Oh, they had Candace Owens on there.
Yeah, well, Candace came on and she was on their side of things and having a conversation, but even that, I think, was below Candace Owens.
Yeah.
I don't think that she should have done that show. I understand why she did. It's promotion of all the things that she's got going on right now, so she's trying to stay in the limelight, but I think that it was beneath her. I don't think that she should have done that podcast. I think that it didn't do a service to any of the women. I don't think that it taught anyone anything, and I think that it's almost just her being on the show to be like, gotcha. I don't appreciate that. There's no,
Right.
How are you going to improve somebody's life by making them feel belittled and not actually provide a solution to the things that you're talking about?
What they do on that is not conversations. It's just pure debating.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's no real sustenance
No.
to it. They find people who can't really have the argument, bring them on the show, and then rip them apart. It's not beneficial. I don't know. I don't even remember why I went there with that, but I have something I want to touch on from the chat, and then I have an article I want to read.
Okay.
Jenny said, I think this is a difference between emotional... Oh, wait, that's not it. Hold on, my chat moved. Where did it go? It jumped a lot. I had it scrolled, and it kept going. I thought it wasn't going to move, but it did. Anyways, I'm not going to dig for it. She said something along the lines of the difference is that women don't normally have sex without like an emotional attachment to the person, where men do. And that's why she thinks that men are higher to cheat than women. We also know that that's not accurate. It might be for older women, women who grew up like the Gen X and like the older millennials might believe that. But with shows like Whatever, where girls are proud that they've got a 300 body count, and women are using men for a paycheck or sleeping with men to get the things that they want because they know that there are simps out there that will give it to them. You can't tell me that women don't have sex for non-emotional reasons, because we know otherwise. Men know otherwise. It's why when you and I first started courting, I was very concerned about like trust and building a foundation with you because of the life that I've lived and the things that I have. Like, I didn't want to be taken advantage of. And that is a very real thing for a lot of men who are quote unquote high value, however you decide you want to base the value on what a man is. I actually agree with the guy in the last video in terms of value. Like, if a woman is a plaything or an object that you're just going to court and you're never going to actually marry her, she doesn't have value. She's just a placeholder. And I believe that. So when you look at a woman and you believe that she could be a wife, there's a value there. So for a woman to look at a man and go, okay, that's a leader, protector, provider, that's everything that I want in a man, and I'd be willing to submit and raise his fucking kids, I think that she would see much more value in that man than somebody who just looks at a man as a paycheck, unless they're just trying to get the money. And if that's the case, like, they're obviously willing to do foul shit to get the money, so that emotional thing is negated.
Right.
Agree? Okay. There's a whole lot there. Somebody said, I love this chat tonight. I haven't even been reading the chat.
It's pretty good.
Zach said the real tragedy was that they had no one actually hold a conversation with Owens. I know. Babe, I can't.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
My food's approaching, and I don't want to walk outside by myself.
I got you.
Thank you.
I can't promise you that we will have Candace Owens on here, but I'm going to do everything in my fucking power to make that a thing.
That would be a really dope moment for me. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving weekend. Happy Thanksgiving, Canadians. That's dope. All right, TikTok, I'm ending you. If you would like to continue being part of the conversation, head over to the YouTube channel, the number 2Be Better. I'll see you guys later.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, I bet they gave me no soap.
Sabrina said, bro, I would die if Candace Owens was on To Be Better. Somebody else said,
Same.
Candace Owens is pretty expensive. Yep. Yeah, I'm sure she is. I know that people have a speaking fee. If I was able to reach out to her team and they were like, she wants $45,000 to do a 2-hour podcast, I would max out a credit card. And you take Apple Pay, I got you. I would spend that money because so one, you highly respect that woman.
I do.
It would be a lucrative content. The TikTok clips alone would make that money back. The life experience that you would get from meeting somebody that you, I don't want to say idolize because it's not the right term, but somebody that you admire. Admire is a better term.
What does admire mean?
You want the actual definition?
Yeah, I would like the definition, please.
All right. You want admire or admiration? Let's do admire first. Okay, that's weird. That is definitely not a dictionary page. That is very loud.
My apologies.
Regard an object, quality, or person with respect or warm approval, or look at with pleasure. Let's do admiration. Probably going to say to admire. Respect and warm approval. Something regarded as impressive or worthy of respect. So would you say that you admire Candace Owens?
I would.
Okay.
I enjoy her.
So in that aspect, it would be worth it for me to spend that kind of money. You're fucking dropping shit left and right tonight.
My hands are having a hard time.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to read some super chats before we get into
Other
things because there's a bunch of them. So guys, if you would like to have us read your content or you have questions and you definitely want to see it, super chats are guaranteed to get it. In the event that you send us a $50 super chat, we will interrupt the podcast to have said discussion. Elizabeth said, my partner has trust issues with me from the past. We've been over many times. I would change my stories. Wait, what? I would change my stories. Well, that would mean that you are not being forthcoming.
Like fibbing?
Here, you read this. Maybe I'm just dumb, which is a very strong possibility.
My partner has trust issues with me from the past. We've been over many times. I would change my stories. I finally told him the truth, and now he says there's something else, but he won't tell me. He says I should know, but I don't know.
Okay. So she was lying.
Right.
Well, you have now established a pattern of lying, and
multiple times because there's change my stories.
Your partner can't trust you.
Yeah.
Like this is what happens when you are not honest and forthcoming.
Yeah. Very childish of the other person to say you should know what you did.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's fucking pathetic in my opinion because you're trying to get them to tell on themselves instead of just having a conversation and being like, look, I still don't trust you. Because ultimately that's what it comes down to. Spring Allison became a member again for another 4 months and said, I got my journal and accountability t-shirt today. Can't wait for my hooded blanket. Y'all are freaking awesome. I appreciate everything you and your team does. Strength and love to everyone. That was a pleasant read.
Thank you.
I'm glad you got your journal. I have 3 left maybe. They're almost gone. Go ahead, babe.
From Daniel, serving crap people for your own sake speaks to me. I'm serving incompetent managers in a crap culture at work. I could complain, or I can learn how to communicate effectively, improve my professionalism, and manage stress.
Agreed. You know what you could also do is learn how to overcome that and become the one that others are serving. Mm-hmm. You could take what you're doing and find a way to master it and become your own boss. Zach said, happy Thanksgiving for all you people from Canada.
Before you read the next one, because they didn't give me silverware, I'm now using my Hello Kitty chopsticks.
Yeah?
I'm excited.
Jody said, I don't pray, but I thank you every day. Thank you for helping me find myself. I love that. And you don't have to pray. I'll pray for you.
We got you.
Yep.
Covered.
Ann Larson. Love that name. I see it all the time on here.
Me too,
Thank you, Ann, for the super chat. The most valuable thing to a man is time. Time to most women equals presence, not money. But for a man to take time for his woman equals loss of money. Bottom line, appreciate your time together and communicate that appreciation. That was so well fucking said.
Good job.
Ann for the win. Do you want to just come and do this for us so that we don't have to do this anymore, Ann? Because you are on fucking fire with that.
When we go on vacation, can we call you?
Yeah. All right. Was that everyone? Was that all the super chats from tonight so far? That was 50 minutes ago. Yep. I just want to make sure that these are all from yesterday. Nope, this is 6:16 p.m. I missed a couple from the beginning of the show. All right, here we go. Peach, I'll be waiting for that murder mystery podcast. Tori said, OG silent follower joining Patreon tonight. Thank you for that. I actually saw you sign up earlier. Deanna Phillips said, just wanted to say thank you for everything y'all do. I got my accountability shirt and I love it so much.
That's awesome.
It is very awesome.
Thank you for supporting us.
Nicole said, would you be interested in someone coming to the women's chat to discuss addiction and recovery and how you have helped me with life after recover and loving myself and my son without his father now?
No, you're too interesting. Yes, I would love to have you on the segment. Email me, peaches@tobebetter.com.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. We got one more, it looks like. It just came through. Sabrina said, Mike has absorbed 2BB by not watching or listening. A friend of mine was at the bar last night, asked me to go, and I said no. He said, she's married. Why is she at the bar? 2BB is wearing off on him.
Ooh, love that.
I know Mike listens. You know he listens.
We know he does.
Yeah, he's just trying to play it cool because he doesn't want to fangirl the way that you do, Sabrina.
She watches on a live or something. You know he's listening.
Yeah, he's standing at the door of the glass, like listening, you know? Yeah.
Making himself busy doing the dishes or something.
Yeah, the same dish, like the bartender waiting for you to tell him your problems. All right. Let me find that article and then we will get into, because this is something that was kind of wild to me. This one. Oh, actually, I have two things that I want to talk about. Technically, I have three, but let's just do this one. Actually, you know what? No, let's save this. That needs to be an R&R. I really want to get into that, but that needs to wait for an R&R.
Hookly dookly.
Okay. Have you heard anything about this Trevor Bauer case?
Trevor Bauer.
He was a Los Angeles. They're not the Dodgers, are they?
Yep.
No, they're the Dodgers. Okay, he was a Dodgers baseball player, and he was accused of some things, and they couldn't actually convict him of any of it, and then it went to civil court, and once it became civil, they were able to speak on the case. Did you hear anything about any of this?
No, I have no idea what you're talking
about. Trevor Bauer and Lindsey Hill have settled an outstanding litigation. Both of their respective claims have been withdrawn with prejudice effective today. Mr. Bauer did not make and never has made any payments to Ms. Hill, including to resolve their litigation, which, with this matter now at rest, Mr. Bauer can focus completely on baseball. So from his attorney, it read, there's much more to the story than this, and many, many people owe Bauer an apology for dragging his name and reputation through the mud for 2 years. The former Cy Young Award winner was accused of sexual assault by Lindsey Hill back in 2021.
Okay.
Throughout the entire process, Bauer denied the allegations. However, in the court of public opinion, Bauer was instantly found guilty. This is obvious with the Me Too movement shit.
Okay.
The vast majority of the media called for Bauer to be suspended. Some even called for him to be banned from baseball. And sure enough, MLB placed him on administrative leave in July of 2021 after the initial allegations were made. The initial allegations made by Hill stated that Bauer assaulting her on 2 different occasions at his home in Pasadena, California. MLB initially suspended Bauer for 324 games. How long is the season? Can you do the stats on that? However, the ban was later reduced to 194 games by an independent arbiter. He was ultimately released by the Los Angeles Dodgers. So he lost his fucking baseball career over these allegations. No other MLB teams showed any interest in signing Bauer. He left for Japan to continue his career with the Yokohama Dina Bay Stars. Is baseball still big in Japan?
Huge.
Really?
Oh, it is like their national sport other than wrestling.
Yeah.
Those are the two.
Well, yeah, I knew wrestling was big. So is MMA over there. But
oh, yeah. Baseball, though, huge.
Wild.
There's after their World Series, KFC gets involved. And it's like this big thing.
Oh.
I have a video at home. I'll send it to you.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
It seemed as for a while as if Bauer was going to fade away from the eyes of the American baseball world and would be forever remembered as a disgraced piece of garbage. After Bauer sued Hill for defamation, she countersued. This entire process led to a discovery of some vital evidence that showed the apparent fabrication of Hill's claims. This goes on. His lawyers and legal team was calling it a money grab. I'm going to just scroll down here and read some of the things that were posted. So because they were able to finally be able to speak publicly about the case, actually, there's a video on Twitter about this, but I don't want to play it. They wrote, next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers, Bauer said in a video, a text Lindsey Hill sent to a friend before she ever even met me that said, what should I steal? She asked another in reference to visiting my house for the first time. The answer was, take his money. So how might that work? She responded, I'm going to his house Wednesday. She said, I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. Then after the first time we met, his net worth was $51 million. She said, and the person said, bitch, you better secure the bag, was the response from the person she was text messaging. And he actually had the text messages, so he was able to secure all of this.
So this man was looking for love. And this woman already went in there premeditated.
To get his money.
Just to get his fucking money.
Yep.
That's disgusting.
Got those stats if you want them.
Yeah. How many games is that? Or how many seasons?
So one season is 6 months, 162 games.
So they suspended him for almost three seasons. Okay. So the following text said, but how was she going to do that? The quotation said, need daddy to choke me out. She said, being an absolute whore trying to get his 51 million, read another text. Then after the second time we met, former San Diego Padres pitcher Jacob Nix told her, you got to get this bag. I'll give you 50,000. Lindsay replied. Her AA sponsor asked her at one point, do you feel even a tiny bit guilty? And she said, no.
I'm glad all this shit blew up in her face.
Oh, so in this whole scenario, knowing that his American baseball career was destroyed by this woman, nothing's going to happen to her.
No.
Zero.
Nothing.
No accountability.
She deserves prison time for that shit.
I agree. And there should be a whole lot of money that should have to be owed. Because, $51 million baseball contract, and you're like a famous baseball player, and you can't play baseball anymore. That hinders the rest of your life. And now he also has a stigma attached to him of being an abuser, because this is not something that's being plastered all over the media. That never happens. They don't ever retract and come to the defense. They just demonize and then move past it. Like, oh, well, he was accused. It wasn't, whatever. But by then it's too late.
Right.
You know what I just thought about?
What's that?
Been a hot minute since I heard anything about Russell Brand. And I missed my mouth.
Oh, I wonder if there's anything new going on with that.
I'll look it up.
I think it's crazy to me that it took TikTok for me to find out that this case even got to the point where the texts were leaked.
Because they don't want you to see that.
Right, but it was on the news. This made it to national news in 2021. I don't give a fuck about baseball. But I knew about this case when it happened because it was a big fucking deal. They talked about it everywhere because there's somebody that's a public figure who is abusing women, and you know what I mean?
Right.
But why wasn't that response just as loud when he won the case and was found that she went in to do the things that she was doing?
Because they don't want to show that.
Yeah.
They don't want to show that women can manipulate and lie and actually be the predators, the aggressors and shit.
Yeah. Yep. Somebody said another Amber Heard.
Fuck her.
Stormy C says she took a video of herself beside him while he was sleeping. Somebody else said premeditated, it should be jail time. Sorry, not sorry. I fucking agree. I agree. It should be jail time. All right. Were you able to find anything on Russell Brand? Has there been anything else since all of that? Where are we at with that?
Another woman has come forward about 7 hours ago.
Today?
Yep.
What about an investigation?
Well, considering, all right. Actor and comedian Russell Brand is under new accusation of SA. According to the allegation, Brand simulated an act with a woman in the audience during a live television performance in 2007. 2007. On that occasion, Brand would have grabbed the woman's head and pushed it towards his crotch. In a post on an online forum, the woman said, "I didn't find it funny. It's probably illegal." Recalling at the time, she did not realize the intensity of Brand's actions. It was only after the show that it dawned on her. I heard everyone laughing a little nervously. It happened all so fast. So
Wait a minute.
in
So what
total
did she
now-
do? He just pointed at his crotch?
So
It sounds like he
simulated,
took her head and.
like if he's performing on stage, right?
Oh.
And you're up on stage or whatever. I'm not defending him.
Right.
But, you know, this is the big get me here. Now there's 5 of them who
Okay.
have come forward. Okay. And there's a lot of language that I'm sure you can't use on here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
we have
not
to be
going
very
to.
careful because the last time we talked
Right.
about Russell Brand, we got an account violation.
And I'm not going to do that. This is why I hate this mouse. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, 5 women, and she came out today with that. But the big get me. This is what it is. I didn't find it funny. It's probably illegal.
Probably illegal.
Right. So
I'm confused. Did he touch her? Or did he gesture towards her and made like a sexual gesture?
And was this at a comedy show?
Well, 2007 it would have been.
Right.
He'd have been coming off the heels of that movie with the Jeffrey. Get Him to the Greek or something.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That movie. So probably reeling off the success of that, doing the stand-up and everything. Okay. She's saying, so she said he grabbed her by the head and then did that motion.
Okay, so him grabbing her is where the issue is, in my opinion. Like, he could have done that, just the motion, and it would have been different than him putting his hands on this woman.
Right.
There's a comedic thing. Like, when you go to a show, you expect there to be vulgarities and inappropriate statements made, and sometimes,
Right.
Things that are just out to offend people, because that's comedy. Like, Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock and a lot of famous comedians have come out and been like, you guys, this culture is destroying comedy. Like, people get bullied at comedy shows. Like, it's part of the laughter. And you go to these things expecting that.
Yeah.
So when he first said this with Russell Brand, I was like, well, if he's just making fun of this chick, like, so what? Him putting his hand on the back of her head, that's a fucking problem. So if that actually happened, that's a problem. People in the chat were like, this is one of the issues that we have is the Me Too movement, where, and they didn't actually say this part, but they were saying that the things like this are removing the validity from people who have actually had things happen to them.
Yeah.
And I was watching something the other day that was saying that the Me Too movement went from people who were actually being raped to now if a woman gets catcalled, she can claim she was Me Too'd, and like it's being hijacked by bullshit.
Right.
And I believe that it's by design.
Yeah.
I believe that this is one of those things where people in power who are these people are like, we have to do something about this because they're finally standing up. How do we decredit this entire movement?
Right.
Well, we got to get a couple people in place to make false accusations and like make everything a big fucking deal, so the things that are really a big deal aren't a big deal anymore.
So Russell Brand's father has gone online now. This was I had to scroll a little bit further. Okay, so he's 80 years old, and he's apparently going on a tirade here. He's saying things like, when you get too big and to start speaking sense to following some blackmailed women or expletive. Wow, they're on a whole different language over there in the UK.
Well, I agree that some of
here
this
it
was
is.
probably blackmail.
Right. Now, he goes on to say, now I'm not saying anyone is guilty or innocent, but when you're on top and you get money and swag and the options, you never need to expletive anyone.
Right.
Okay, since nobody's talking, I think there's a lot of context that goes into that. into what she's trying to claim. Who is she to him? Was she some random woman at one of his shows or wherever they were at? And someone's like, oh, I know Russell Brand, you want to meet him? That's a very different context versus you knowing Russell Brand, knowing his kind of humor in that time period, knowing who he is as a person. Did she feel uncomfortable? Probably. This feels like a, how can I jump on this train too?
Yeah.
This is not something that...
He did something to me almost 20 years ago, and I just happen to remember it.
Yeah. I would not tolerate this. This would be even if you were to call the police on a random man at a gas station who did something like this, what are they going to do? Take him in for 24 hours? It's not physical assault. It's certainly a violation of personal privacy, there's a sexual tone to it.
Right.
But even if you were to call the police, what are they going to do?
Right. At this point, nothing, because statute of limitations exist.
Right. But if this were like an active thing, like a woman's at a gas station with a group of people and this happens, police show up in 5 minutes, what are they going to do?
That was very loud.
Sounded like he was in the parking lot.
It sounds like he doesn't have an exhaust on his car. So I don't know what the police would do.
Right.
I know that the type of man I am, that if I saw a woman being grabbed at a gas station like that, I would step in.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of other men who feel the same way. They would not tolerate that shit, especially if you could tell that the woman didn't want that shit happening.
Mm-hmm.
The issue that I have in this scenario, though, is that it's after the fact, because that is assault. You grab somebody, that's assault. Police will do something about that. The issue in this whole scenario is that they were at a show and nothing came of it the night that it happened. So now there's no way to even prove this happened.
Right.
I could say that Bill Clinton touched me. I was at a thing one time and there he was. There's no way to prove that, especially because when he was in office, there was no cell phones. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just one of those things that it's difficult.
And also, if she's coming out and saying that this happened to me and I'm on the same level of the other claims, I don't recall what they were. They were more serious than that, though, right? The other 4 claims?
Oh, yeah. Very.
Yeah.
If those other 4 women are telling the truth and another woman stepped forward and said this and said it's illegal, I would be pretty fucking offended. You can come out and say that it made you uncomfortable and that could be a leading behavior into the things that he did. I don't know.
There's a lot to this. The Russell Brand thing, and it's difficult. We have to be careful about the things that we say, because like I said, the last video got demonetized over this. Somebody had made a comment though about catcalling in here, and I want to touch on that too. Fatima P said catcalling is still inappropriate though. No. Words are words. That's all they are. If somebody's walking down the street and somebody from the other side of the street yells something inappropriate, yeah, technically that's inappropriate. But it doesn't hurt you. It might make you feel uncomfortable, but if they stand on the other side of the street and they whistle at you, how is that really detrimental versus a man running across the road and pushing you into a fucking alley?
Right.
There is a difference between being yelled at from across the road and actually being assaulted. So being catcalled or being called fat or just, people being aggressive with their words, unless you are physically in danger, I don't think that shit matters.
I agree.
Your
emotions are not the same as a physical assault.
Right. Sticks and stones. I mean, that's just the way that was for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. FYI, I shared your podcast in a woman's 420 group, bragging how much it's helped.
That's dope.
Love that.
Thank you for sharing.
All right.
I'm thinking on that thing of that woman coming out and saying that he did that to her. I know who Russell Brand was in 2007. If I were part of that group of people who are famous and they're going to those parties and that all that kind of shit, I would make it a point to not be around somebody. Even if there were whispers of he's very sexual, he's very handsy.
Well, that was actually stated.
Right. Like I'm going to avoid a man like that. Even if I was like, oh my God, I know Russell Brand, he's here right now. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit over here and hang out with Adam Sandler or something.
Yep. We got a super chat that said, you guys are great. Glad I found you. Wish I could be there for tomorrow's. Something close to me, so I just left a comment for it. All the best to you two. Doesn't make sense. I'm glad you found us too, though. Just call me Joe. I see the disconnect in society about traditional relations. Men provide outside the home and women provide in the home. The warmth is felt in the home. Money is a necessity, not personality. I wonder if men think that money is enough. Ooh, that last sentence. What do you think about that, babe?
I don't, because I didn't read it. I didn't retain anything. I do believe that men might think that money is enough because there are women who are incapable of communicating their needs inside of the home.
Elaborate.
How
please.
do I? What do you mean?
Well, because my brain is not where yours is.
Okay, so if a man is working and is providing, and when he comes home, all he hear is, "I fucking hate how much you work. You work too much." Okay, well, I mean, I have to fucking do this. What else do you want from me?
Okay.
It's very different versus, I appreciate how much you work. I miss you. When you're home, can we spend more time together? Can you put your phone down?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
In talking to Joe last night, we interviewed the older millennial on TikTok. He came down to the studio and we did a 2-hour interview with him. That's actually going to get an early release on this week, and then it goes live for everybody else on YouTube on Saturday. But I talked to him for almost 3 hours after you left last night, and one of his biggest things is he wants to be able to provide a environment for his woman to do the things that's going to make her happy, and he's able to do that because of his finances, right? So the money aspect is very important to a man because we know that without that, it's very hard for us to provide the lives that you want. So unless you're somebody that has a homestead and you are completely living off the land and you got a woman that wants to completely live off the land that matches that energy, it's very hard to be able to provide her needs if those needs are very different than your own. Yes. And for people who live in cities, money is the catalyst to being able to be that guy for a lot of people. So I think that there's a balance that has to be had. And I don't think that men think that money is enough, but I believe that most men believe that it is the starting point. And without that, they have now been brainwashed into believing that they have no value, because that's the argument from all of the mega influencers, is that a man is only able to have value or be high value if he has 6 figures a year, 6 foot tall with a 6-inch dingling. So like, I think it's very odd that there's the 666 pattern and all of that, but that is very much a thing. Like when you really listen to the things that are being said, why are you looking at me like that?
I just want to remind you that I love the path of God that we're on.
Oh. Jeremy said the reason that they started going after Brand is because he was speaking out against the war in the East and the jab. This never happened until his viewpoint changed. I've said that over and over and over again. I agree 100%. When he was the left's darling, they were all about his ass.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Somebody in the chat I saw proposed the perspective of what if the catcalling triggers like a memory of an assault or a trauma or something like that. Your traumas are yours to deal with.
Yep. So are your triggers.
Right. If you're walking down the street and you are triggered to the point of having like a PTSD episode because somebody whistles at you, I would highly recommend a lot of therapy. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that needs to be worked through there. I am absolutely annoyed by catcalling.
And I do it to you constantly.
I love it when it's from
I
you.
know, but I didn't realize that it was such a big deal for you because I do it constantly. And I know I'm your husband, so it's
Right.
acceptable, but like, I think that shit's funny. I do it everywhere.
To me.
I know.
When I am dropping the kids off at their father's place and I'm walking back to my car and somebody happens to be walking past and they can't call me, I'm disgusted. My immediate thought is not, you should be in prison.
Right.
Oh,
my butt.
So
Tailbone hurts.
it can certainly be triggering for some people. That does not mean that the cat caller should be in prison because somebody got triggered.
I'm going to take it a step further because we're almost done with this episode. The world doesn't give a fuck about you. The world doesn't owe you anything. People don't care about your past. They don't care about your traumas. They don't give a shit about what you've gone through. It doesn't matter if you're a rape victim, if you're a veteran. It doesn't matter if you've done horrible, horrible things or horrible things have been done to you. That is your reality. The rest of the world is not experiencing their life the way that you experienced yours. They're worried about them. So to think that people are out there to cater to your needs and your wants is a fucking selfish mindset, and it's never going to happen. It's just not. So you can take accountability for the things that you can. What's the serenity prayer? God give me what is it? God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, accept the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Isn't that the Alcoholic Anonymous thing?
It is.
Okay. Tell me that that's not enough. I can't control this. Gotta go. I can control my own environment when I'm in control of my environment. Right. If you have PTSD and you know that you don't do crowds, you don't fucking go to a concert because your friend wants you to go.
You have witnessed this with me.
Right.
In the studio. So, yeah. And it is anything that's a trigger, or past traumas, you have to own them.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple.
It's nobody else's responsibilities but your own.
Absolutely.
I don't really have a whole lot more to talk about. We have a Patreon live that starts in 10 minutes.
We do.
And we're going to be reading an update from episode 25 and something else. Zach has got it all together.
Fantastic.
Do you want to end this now, take a 10-minute break, and then get into that?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any super chats that we have not read yet?
I believe you read the last one.
Okay.
Wait, this one. I don't know if you read this one.
Is that the last one with the...
Just Call Me Joe?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the last one I read.
And then there was... Moving and a shaking on my... Yep, you've read them all.
All right.
All right.
Tony said, I have seen random men hear a woman being catcalled and then start to do it to the catcaller, trying to make them uncomfortable. Because there are people out there who don't agree with that shit. Mm-hmm. This comes down to people just wanting to be protectors. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time men do shit like that because there's no strong men to correct the behavior. Our son will never behave like that. If I ever hear him act like that, I will pull him aside and I'll correct that behavior and be like, we don't do that. So that kind of shit is happening because there's not enough fathers in the home teaching children how to be good men. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the R&R topic, the next one that we do. I have a whole bunch of fucking stats from the wrong button. From the America First policy, fatherlessness and its effects on American society. I whole fucking thing I wanted to go over tonight. We just don't have the time for it. So, all right, guys. With that being said, you got anything else, babe?
No, thank you guys for being here tonight, and thank you for the continued support.
Yeah, we love that. You guys are dope as fuck.
I ran to 3 of the fans last night at Hallow Scream, and that was really dope.
Peaches! All right. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.